All right, let's get back to the other huge story of this week. Everybody's talking about the rain, the storm tomorrow. Darren, what's the timing of all this and how bad is it going to get?
The main event's tomorrow in the afternoon, Liz. That's when the heaviest rain gets here. Let me show you what's coming. This is the live updating satellite imagery right now out in the Pacific. That is a picture you would see in a textbook. Or as a framed work of art, that storm is incredibly well put together. Here we are. This storm has rapidly intensified, and it's got all of the ingredients in it. If you take a look down here, see how the clouds are trailing back down into subtropics? That's where it's reaching down towards Hawaii and pulling an atmospheric river into the center of a storm that's going to rapidly intensify. Watch what happens over the next few hours. We're going to put it into the futurecast. See, it's the storm. It pulls it up into the central part of the Pacific here. Now it's even got a better form to it. If we watch that in terms of where the atmosphere is pulling the water vapor into it, there is the fuel that's going to drive this storm with all of these high-intensity rainfall amounts. But this storm also has strong winds, and it also has cold air. You can see that on the back edges. It's pulling in all of those kind of like speckled-looking clouds. That's live, first alert Doppler. If we put that into the futurecast, some of those showers move across the North Bay this afternoon. We'll get a drop of rain in Sonoma County today. That's not a big deal. That's the start of this. The warm front comes onshore for tomorrow morning's commute. We're going to have light rain tomorrow morning. But the main event moves in after that, and you can see how different this looks now. Now we're on that leading edge where the storm was pulling up that atmospheric river into it. This is where you're going to get your most widespread steady rain. And the thing about this is it's going to last a while. If we started here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and take it through the afternoon in progression, here we are at 4:30. South to north orientation means if this storm slows down in its forward progression that way, because the storm wants to go that way, while it's pulling all this stuff up in front of it, if it stalls, we get stuck under that for a longer period of time. And that's one of the concerns with this storm. Here we are now, going into the 7 o'clock hour. It's still pretty much over the bay. And by the time we get to around 8 or 9 o'clock, we will have gotten out of that phase of the storm. That is a long time to be under a steady, continuous plume of widespread rain like that. That's how the totals are going to add up. That's the hallmark of what atmospheric rivers look like when they come in. We rate these things on a scale from 1 to 5. This one's at 3. And 3 includes some hazardous qualities to it. And as we're going to see here when we take a look at the flood watch that's in place. Look at the rainfall totals. So we'll pick up close to 3 inches. In the North Bay, we'll get about 1.75 inches in San Jose. There is a flood watch because of that. Now that means you got to be real aware when you're out driving in the afternoon because we're likely going to see some more issues with flooded intersections. That's probably the main impact for the majority of us. But as Liz was telling you earlier, there are special flood watches and concerns in the Santa Cruz Mountains because the streams and creeks there, as well as in the North Bay, which have already overflowed their banks from the last storm, are going to do that in greater numbers this time. So there's two sides to the flooding coin. Do you live near any of those streams and creeks that are not controlled well? If you do, hopefully you know and you already have experience with them and you know what you should be doing now. But for the rest of us who don't live in that location, we need to be thinking about the roads and the issues we might have tomorrow as we need to go about our business. All right, Liz, back over to you.
Yeah, some great advice there. Thank you, Darren.